What's up, everyone? You're listening to episode 197 of the Leadway Wealth Builders podcast with me, Chris Rickenbaugh, and today I'm going to be breaking down my weekly progress tracking with the 12-week year. So it's going to be a short and sweet episode, but if you're not using the 12-week year, I'm going to break that down a little bit for you guys today. So if you haven't listened to this show before, I am documenting my journey in real estate and business and also bringing on high-level investors to share their stories and how they built their businesses. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok where I post my journey through all the ups and downs, mostly down lately, but we're going to be on the back upswing here pretty soon. But you can follow me at chris.rickenbaugh. That's chris.reicenbach. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Leave us a like, rating, review, thumbs up, or just send us a message and see, if there's a certain area you guys want us to be able to dive into. We have multiple guests coming up soon. We have somebody talking about Airbnbs. We have somebody talking about funding real estate. And then we have an expert in travel hacking. That's all going to be coming up soon. So make sure you tune into these episodes to stay up to date on all the content and be able to learn a little bit. So let's hop into today's topic with the weekly progress tracking and the 12-week year. So if you haven't heard of the 12-week year, go grab the book. It's going to be able to really shift your goal setting, because what they talk about in the book is people like to take these year-long goals, and with a year-long goal, it takes you a year to be able to hit them. So that's why all these salespeople, they either, they can get it done early, but that's why all their sales are going to be crammed into the last 2 months. It's so hard to be able to do that. So what the author does in this book is he says he breaks it down into these 12 weeks. So normally it's like 12 week and then one off, 12 week and then one off. So not basing it on quarters either, because with quarters, you're tracking quarterly progress, where you want to condense your goal down into this 12 weeks and call it the 12-week year. And that's going to be helping you be way more productive, because you're going to be having to go in and identify different goals and what you're looking to hit within these 12 weeks. So what you're doing is you're committing to these habits, these actions for these 12 weeks, and that's going to be able to get you to your goal faster rather than you setting a year-long goal that's going to take you a year to hit. Condense that down, get really solid and really focused, and you're going to be able to knock that out. So that's what I did for this year, and I did it a little bit last year before things kind of got crazy and I stopped tracking it, but I'm getting back into it this year, and coincidentally, all my goals turn out to, with what I have to track, there's 100 total possible points that I can get for the week. So for my first week, it was 61%. I was off in a couple different areas and definitely can capitalize on that a little bit better. As I'm seeing what I'm doing changing, and seeing how I can, how this schedule works for me, because, it's sitting down, being able to put in that work, and, I want to be able to consistently post content. So I skipped last week's podcast because if I don't have anything to talk about, I don't want to come on here and just talk about crap. So, and I want to be able to bring on interesting guests for the listeners, which I have a couple coming up. So you just got to hang in there to figure out who it is. Some Charlotte people. So that's going to be fun to look at, Charlotte business owners. So make sure you're tuning into those episodes. But the main point of the 12-week year, I have it broken down into real estate and business goals, and then I have personal goals. So the real estate and the business, with the social media, it's releasing 2 podcasts and then 5 reels, posts, and stories for the entire week, because I want to be consistent on that. I want to grow my numbers, grow the reach, and be able to just meet new people. And that's the fun part about a podcast, because you get to meet all of these new people and you're able to get connected, because this person knows this person and that person knows somebody else that's going to be able to, maybe give you some insight on your life, but you're giving them a platform to be able to talk about their story. And, sometimes it's stuff that people haven't really talked about before, and they're able to break down exactly what they're doing, and you, the listener, get to be able to learn about what they're doing. So Another part of that is, hey, wholesaling is going to be a kind of like a side hustle for us as we're focusing on the business. So being able to figure out how that fits into a time condensed schedule. And I want to be able to talk to 50 new agents per week. So being able to really sit down and take the time, because what I'm kind of figuring out now is, if I really, sit down, if I'm not running around during the day, I can, figure out and sit down. But like a busier day today, I only had really about an hour and a half to really sit down. And then I had, 3 conversations that were 15 minutes long. And then you get another call from your contractor. And then you get a call from this person. And then it just starts to eat up time because these people are busy during their day too. And then everybody wants to call you at once. So I'm really kind of figuring out how that all blends and meshes. But on the other side, I want to have 10 conversations with private lenders. So that's one that's going to be a lot more difficult, in my opinion. And it's kind of showed in week 1. I talked to 5 different lenders on some different deals. So mainly this is focusing on buying the business. Hey, what are you interested in? Hey, you're looking for these numbers. How can we be able to get you there? And then having second meetings, having to go and understand what these lenders are actually looking for and be able to understand the true why they want to invest. Do they just want a better return than their savings account? Are they looking for long-term wealth? Are they looking for a piece in the business, or they just enjoy it? And that's just a conversation to be had every single time. And that does take up time, but being able to find new people, you just don't want to get any random person on the phone. You want to make sure that they're qualified and very interested in what you're doing. If they have an extra $40,000 or $50,000 that they're looking to invest and getting 4% in a savings account, then how can I be able to get you a 10 to 12% return in a year? How can we look at that? So that is on the real estate business goals for me. And, I have another space in there to be able to add something in. But as for right now, we're going to really capitalize on those things, being able to have those conversations. So on the personal side, that's more of like on the health, it's having soda only on the weekends, being under 1,900 calories per day as I'm doing a little bit of a cut, and then 1 gallon of water a day for 5 of the days. And then on the 1,900 calories, Saturday's a cheat day. I can't think of what that book is, but that's I'll have to figure it out. But doing 1 date night per week, that's a pretty easy one to be able to get. And then reading 10 pages per day, just making sure you're learning something. So I've already finished book 2 for the year, 13 days in, and going to keep rolling on that. But I just kind of wanted to go over what I'm doing in the 12-week year. Basically, you're shortening down an entire year into 12 weeks, making sure you can accomplish your goals quicker. So I highly recommend the book. Go and try it. Even on something simple, you're going to be amazed at how much you actually get done when you're having this feedback and not at 100% every single week. So go check out the book. Keep listening to the podcast. We have some great guests coming on the show. I know we have Eric Eichinger from iFund Cities coming on next week. We have Ross Alcorn, in the travel hacking space coming up soon with Itinerary Boss. That's going to be a really good one. Me and him can nerd out. And then we have somebody coming on for Airbnbs and just some other guests and some business owners in the pipeline, trying to get them on the schedule. So make sure you tune in for those. It's only going to get better. And with your feedback, we can figure out exactly what people are wanting to listen to. So make sure you comment, send me a message, and send how we can make the podcast better. So thank you so much for listening to another episode. We'll see you on the next one.